The problem with goal setting is you need to know your goals. That's the problem with goal setting. It's hard to plan for I don't know.
Welcome back to another episode of Relentless Life on Your Terms. Super excited to be filming out of London. Special guest David Onuma, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Always very, very close to my heart having a combat world champion on, so I'm honored that you're here. You have an amazing story and you actually train quite a few of my closest friends that I grew up with. So I've heard a little bit about you and I'm honored to meet you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start at the start. You were a lawyer for 25 years.
Yeah, I qualified as a solicitor.
Yep.
In a long time ago, in 1993, when I had hair. And I did general work in the training and then for the first couple of years, but essentially I specialized in criminal law. And I did that effectively for 25 years. Now I still have a practicing certificate. I maintain it. And I just do a few little bits and pieces. But essentially, I came out of criminal law in 2014.
To follow your love.
My love, my passion. Yeah.
Your love. Now, you've got many black belts. You love combat sports.
Yeah.
But you've been doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for how long?
My first contact with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was in 1996. I've been doing that ever since. It was the last martial art that I got a black belt in, if I want to call it that. I still train the others, but when I say it was the last one, because I had black belts.
You have multiple. Can you tell us which ones you got?
Yeah. Okay. So when I use the term black belt, some is not actually called a black belt. They're called, you're either an instructor. So straight kickboxing.
It's my favorite. Sorry.
Right in the beginning, and then Wing Chun, Kung Fu, and I did that for a long time, and I was teaching that as well. And then you have Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. Now that's a super interesting story, but Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. And then you have the Filipino martial arts, which is very broad in itself. I don't know if you know much about the Filipino martial arts.
I was about to ask what is that, because I'm not familiar with it.
Filipino martial arts is principally a weapons-based system. It's one of the best in the world. Really, because they have several different categories of weapons: long weapons, short weapons, sticks, knives, sword, projectile weapons, nunchakas, everything, right? And then they have the empty hand system as well. And the empty hand system is based off that. You've actually seen Filipino martial arts in the movies, but not realized. So I'll tell you where the Filipino martial arts was used. The empty hands was in Bourne Identity with Jason Bourne. All that fighting is Filipino style training. Wow. You'd have to remember it to see it to know what he was doing, but all the stuff where he's fighting with the pen and headbutts and knockdown and takes and arm breaks and stuff, it's all from the Filipino training.
Wow.
And in the film industry, there are a lot of stunt directors who have a deep background in Filipino martial arts. Probably one of the foremost experts in Filipino martial arts now is Dan Inosanto, Guru Dan Inosanto. But Guru Dan Inosanto is Bruce Lee's top student.
I read that that's incredible.
So his father obviously was a leading member of the Filipino community where they were raised in Stockton, California. And so, but because he was born in America, this is Guru Dan, he went into like Western arts and karate and stuff like that. And it was actually Bruce Lee, as Guru Dan tells me, it was Bruce Lee who encouraged him to go back to his roots and then started training and learning in Filipino martial arts. All of the experts were actually living in Stockton because they'd all left the Philippines. And you know, like how you have communities that travel, right? So they were all living in Stockton. So you had lots of masters all living kind of in the same area. And when he went on that path, he had access to all of them. Anyway,
wow.
The point is he has all those skills. I've trained with him and his top student in London. But it's a very diverse art, very diverse art.
like MMA, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, MMA is diverse too. Obviously, it's a collection of skills from different styles of martial art, right? So MMA is not a style in itself. They basically,
Culminated all the
yeah,
arts
they
together.
combine
Striking,
striking,
grappling.
wrestling, yeah, and then they try to take the best, in inverted commas, of each style that they can use to take advantage of each area of terrain. But you have to be able to combine it, is the bottom line.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be exposed in one area,
Correct.
which means you're going to be in big trouble.
Correct, yeah.
A lot of the best big UFC fighters, they're very strong in one point.
Mm,
Like you look at your GSPs, he's very all-rounded.
mm,
Alex Perez, a very good striker, but his grappling game's getting better and better.
yeah.
There's so many great fighters. I love the UFC. I mean, as I mentioned before, kickboxing is, my brother was a Commonwealth 2-time Aussie champion, and kickboxing is my favorite. It's the most entertaining when you're watching K1 and things in Japan.
Have you seen Karate Combat, by the way? I don't know. Okay. You would love that.
But having said that, I respect the hell out of MMA because there's so many areas you need to be good at. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You'll be found out in one way or another.
Sure.
Obviously, you started your MMA school. You've won a ton of awards, and you recently won a world title. Is that I know you won many Europeans.
First world title, this one.
Because you came second in a world title too, didn't you?
Yeah, in 2016, I took silver in the World No-Gi Championships. This is all in my age, weight, and division and belt. And in 2013, I took a bronze medal in the gi. The difference between the gi and the no-gi is in the gi you're wearing the traditional uniform, and in the no-gi it's more like submission grappling.
How much harder is the no-gi?
It's faster. Okay, it's faster because you don't have the grips. You can't
grab limbs.
You have to grab limbs. It gets sweaty. You can't grab the clothing. You can't slow things down. So it's faster. It's harder. It may be harder physically, if that makes sense.
Of course.
But technically, in the gi is harder, I think, because there's more things that can happen.
So I need to ask because I'd probably get a lot from being a criminal lawyer for 25 years to now becoming a very successful full-time martial arts instructor, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu instructor. What are the parallels you've taken from one and put across the other?
For me personally, and I know you're asking me, but for me personally, there are many. Because the first thing to say is that I've been doing martial arts since I was 12, right? But I became a criminal lawyer, or I qualified when I was 25. So
very young.
So I'd already been doing martial arts for 13 years before I became a lawyer. So in fact, I started, if I can put it that way, by taking martial arts into law, right? Things like, resilience, mental toughness, that kind of stuff, not giving up. But then as I became a lawyer and as I was training, I learned about structure, balance, arguments, both sides. And because I was a criminal lawyer, it's obviously adversarial, right?
Of course.
So
it's like combat.
Correct. And the difference between criminal law and contract law, for example, is that even though there is an adversarial part to contract law, it's not the same. It's in criminal law, you're in court and you're depending on who you are, you're cross-examining witnesses in the witness box. You know the case against them. Things change as the case goes along, right? So it's a different kind of law to contract law where most of it is done on paper, make sure everything, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. It's different.
The way you've just described that is the first time the pennies dropped to consider that when you're in that courtroom, things are changing instantly and you've got to react 100%. Exactly like you're in that fight.
100%.
Because the fight's changing constantly.
Oh yes. The best parallel is if you've never been in court, right, as a lawyer actually handling an aspect of the case, you are the mouthpiece. It's a different level of preparation and understanding than to being the person doing the work in the background, which is why in the UK, I don't know if you know, but in the United Kingdom, you have a split system where you have solicitors and barristers. And traditionally, barristers were the ones who went to court and did the speaking in court, and solicitors did the paperwork, right?
Yeah, it's the same in Australia. I was in court for 2.5 years for my divorce, so
Right.
I'm too well familiar with these things, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that. But then obviously for many, many, many years, solicitors have always had rights of audience in what they call the lower courts, magistrates court, tribunals, that kind of stuff, right? But then over the years, upon passing exams or tests and application, you have rights of audience in the Crown Court. So the same rights of audience that a barrister would have, right? Now, let me just make it clear. You wouldn't be as good as a barrister unless that's what you decided to do, as in you're in court doing that job every day. So whilst I know you get the point, the best way to explain the difference is this. If you're ill, you will see a GP. And the GP, most of the stuff that you need a GP for, you don't need, general practitioner, your doctor. You don't need anything else for. But if your issue, say, is your knee, they might say, go and see the knee consultant. And it's the knee consultant who will decide whether or not you need an operation. If you need an operation, it's the knee consultant that will do that operation. So that is the expert in that area of law, in that area of medicine, okay?
It's the barrister.
That's the barrister.
Of course.
And you don't always need the barrister, but they'll be the expert.
They'll be the ones. Yeah, as I mentioned, it is like that. But there is a lot of parallels with having to constantly change, because in the fight, anything can happen in a split second.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I by no means I compare it exactly with a fight, but for sure there are parallels. Okay, because as you know, there's a fight or a street fight, or there is a combat martial arts training type fight where you're able to prepare and
there's rules.
And there's rules. We won't talk about street fighting, but in terms of martial arts competitions of where there's fighting, for sure there are great parallels. I mean, for example, I just fought in the World Championships in Las Vegas, end of August, and in my division, so it's a knockout tournament. This is the way it works. It's not a place where you go and you fight one guy and then the winner is the world champion. So there were 16 people that signed up in my division, 8 on one side of the bracket, 8 on the other side. So you have 3 fights on one side, and basically the winner of the bracket meets the winner of the other bracket.
Keeps moving.
It keeps correct. Before I flew out, I had conducted as much research as I could on the other fighters. Whatever was available, I did that research. So now I dare say they did their research too. My research was quite meticulous because I'm used to researching cases. You know what I mean? I understand how to prepare, and I prepared as much as I could, game plans and strategies for these people, not knowing who I was going to fight until a few days before. So you just looked. But that would be an example, I would say, of a parallel between preparing a case in law and preparing to fight. And I say this because I know many people who don't bother to check, like, who they're fighting. And they just turn up, I'll just do it on the day and let's see.
But you'll miss a big opportunity.
Yeah.
I look at people like, and I refer to the one I know the most, MMA. You look at people like John Jones, and his fight IQ is incredible. And I've heard him say on many occasions, he studies his opponents intensely. George St. Pierre was the same as well. They were very, very well researched, very well rounded. So you can prepare for a certain style of fight. I guess it's easier when you're having one fight as opposed to 16.
Sure.
Because who are you going to come up against? Who's going to win? And it's just like you're going from quarterfinals to semifinals to final, but it's still studying. You're still doing the research, still doing the work.
Correct. Yeah.
So I have to ask, how was it winning a world title?
I mean, it's fantastic because in terms of this campaign, it almost couldn't have gone better. So let me just explain. The World Championships are always in America. And after 2016, I just got fed up of traveling to America. I said, I'm taking a break from traveling. Not because it was America, but it's far away. You got to go for a week, 10 days. Right?
It's a long time.
It's a long time. And then before you knew it, there was COVID and everything kind of shut down. So you're now 21, 22. And so it was like, I always wanted to become a world champion, right? Especially in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. But it was never going to happen unless I went.
Of course.
So what I had to do essentially was prepare myself to find the right time that I'm going to go and do it. Essentially, from 2016, I never went to the World Championships. And arguably, I could have potentially won it at some point.
Or you would have won a couple more.
Before. Yeah, who knows, right?
Yep.
You never know. So this is my first campaign since then. And I planned it meticulously from October last year. I had a strategy for the whole thing. And that started with fighting 2 big competitions before then.
As your preparation was lead up before the World Championship.
Correct. I mean, I wanted to win them, but they were still preparation for the world.
Very smart.
And the funny thing is I set all the plans, the competitions I was going to do. And the very first competition and the very first fight of the first competition, I faced the current world champion.
It's a tough first task. Some will say it's good, some will say it's bad. I don't know what it is because you're fighting your potential winner.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was good because if I was going to win the world championships,
I've got to beat everyone anyway.
I've got to beat. And so as much as I wanted to beat him, my mindset was I will beat anybody who's in front of me. That's the mindset.
You have to.
It didn't make any difference. That's what I was going to do. So he was my first fight of the European Championships. First fight, January 2025. And fortunately, I beat him. So he was out. 2 more fights, and then I won that.
That was the European leading up to the World.
Yeah, then we had another big competition, International Masters. That was in Barcelona in May. And then I won that. And then now we came to the World Championships in August.
So you won the 2 warm-ups before you won the world title?
Correct. Yeah.
So you would have had a lot of confidence going into that third one?
Yeah, I was much more confident in terms of, I'm now not rusty. I'm
sharp.
I'm sharp. I now know who's fighting and what they do. I fought the world champion already. I understand what he does. Do you know what I mean?
When you won the world title, was it what you expected? Was it harder? Was it the same? What was the feeling that you got after? Because after Spa, I've got a couple of your students are very good friends of mine. I said, tell me a couple of things about David. He's extremely disciplined. He's very well prepared. Now, obviously, your success indicates that your preparation's key. I mean, you're a criminal lawyer for 25 years. You need to know what you're doing to be able to win cases. And you're a very decorated black belt in many arts and now a world champion. So preparation and discipline has to be right up there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there is all of that. And can I just say right from the outset that all I can do is prepare myself as best as possible in every way that I can. And the rest is up to fate. You know what I mean? If it's not meant to be mine, it's not going to happen. But I'm going to do everything that I can do to make sure that I'm ready. And I will never quit. You know what I mean? I can be beaten, but I won't quit. So, look, I set my mind to this task, and I'm so glad that I managed to achieve it. The competition was hard, right? We had 4 fights, and listen, the fights themselves are not long in our division.
Can I ask? They're 5 minutes.
5-minute fight.
And then Andy said they won 5 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
And no matter what part of the tournament, it's the same.
It's the same.
1 5-minute round. That's it.
And like the thing is, 5 minutes doesn't seem long, but
it's long.
You can imagine it's like a lifetime, right? And the thing about this, which is difficult, is there's a tendency, you're going to have your first fight and you're nervous, right? To an extent, but you're nervous, but you think, okay, I've got to beat this guy. But you can't think too much about the next guy because you've got to get past this guy. Because if you think too much about the guy you're going to meet later on, you may never meet him because you didn't concentrate on
You won't cross this hurdle.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens is I beat this guy, I got to beat the next one. So you got to conserve your energy, but equally use the right energy. You got to, it's a
balancing
act of everything, right? And in this competition, in between fight number 2 and 3, jet lag started to kick in.
You start to gas a bit, maybe?
I started to, and it was tough. The guys were tough. They were tough guys. And I was getting tired, and I actually had to really mentally dig deep to say, no, I'm not giving up. I mean, if you look at the points and the results, I only made one mistake in 4 fights. I mean, like the first guy I beat 18-0. I mean, I won't bore you with the point system, but I beat 18-0. The second guy I beat 4-0. The third guy I beat 10-3. He managed to get one move on me, and in the final I won 6-0. So across the board, it looks like I
3 points only.
Yeah, it looks like, and that was because I kind of made a mistake with one move, and I was tired as well, and then I recovered after, right? So, but it was tough. It was tough. In the final, I managed to get a good wind. You know, I was a little bit more rested, but I was ready. I was here. I was where I was meant to be. If that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
You can't get to the final and then, oh, I'm surprised. This is where I'd said I needed to be here, and that's where I was. So, and I was confident I was going to beat him. There was no way.
Your preparation started from the October before.
Correct.
You set out your calendar.
Yeah.
You put 2 pre-runs before.
Yeah.
You've come in on a good confidence. You won. First was a world champion, which you beat. Second was a win. You're going in that confident. But you're meeting great opponents that they're all going to be feeling those same emotions.
Absolutely.
I'm tired. They're going to be resilient because they're all great fighters if they're at a world title.
Sure.
They have to be.
Sure. So, you know, and it truly wasn't actually an international competition because we had people, obviously Americans, Brazilian, English, Korean. Yeah, there's a few others as well.
So in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, is it like karate where there's a Dan system?
Yeah, but there is, but the Dan's irrelevant to competing. Yeah, but there is a Dan system.
So you don't have to pass a grading at each point?
Yeah, so in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, your Dan grades are given by time more than by skill.
Every 4 years or something, Andy was saying.
Yeah, the first 3 years, the first, when you get your black belt, your first stripe is after 3 years, your second stripe is after 3 years, and then your third stripe is after 3 years. So for the first 9 years, it's one stripe.
3 stripes, yeah.
Then from third to fourth is 5 years, and then 5 to 6 is 5 years, and then 6 to 7 is they chuck the years on in between.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I mean, like we understand it.
That's respect though. When someone's got a belt with so many Dans or whatever,
sure.
It's respect. They've been doing their art for so long, and they're masters at it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll just tell you this quickly. When I did my first world title run in 2013, my second fight, I won the first fight against a guy who happened to be the Brazilian national champion. But in my second fight, the guy I fought at that point, I hadn't received my first degree yet on my belt. So I was just, or maybe I had the first degree. I was 3 years as a black belt. This guy had 6 stripes on his belt. So he had been a black belt
forever, for such a long time.
25 odd years, whatever.
Wow.
25 years minimum at that time. A black belt, and it might have taken him 10 years to get it, right? So this guy was about as experienced as it got. And it showed. He beat me 5-0. So he beat me 5-0. I did fight him again in 2018.
I was about to ask that question. And you got him back.
I beat him.
Returned the favor.
I beat him in the final of the European Championship.
It would have been an amazing match and an amazing lesson to see, because in your head you couldn't wait to get back there.
Yeah, but I've never actually ever fought anyone that I thought I need to go and get them. I don't care about that. I mean, if somebody beats me, I don't think I'm going to get them next time. I don't care about it.
That's a couple of people when I was very young. Remember, I got beat up at school because I was a smart ass, and I was making fun of a guy a lot stronger and bigger than me. He was 3 years older, national boxing champion, skinny kid. So I just used to like shit stirring people. So I did that to him, and he came after me. He dropped me to the floor and he hit my head on the thing, and he knocked me out. And I started kickboxing that week because I wanted to go beat him up in a year.
Yeah.
This guy would have been beating me up for many years to come.
Yeah.
But that was my goal.
Yeah.
Only one goal.
Yeah.
Thank God for me. He came to my snooker room 2 months later because I used to play snooker, and we became friends, and I started teaching him to play. Okay. So I had many more beatings coming to me, but that was my motivation to start.
Yeah.
And then I went to Australia. My brother was a professional fighter because he lived here, and I had a few fights, and I enjoyed it. But it was very funny. You said something which one of my snooker friends said don't know if you follow the sport.
Not really, but I know a little bit about it.
He's number 3 in the world.
Okay.
So I grew up with him.
Mm.
I represented Victoria 5 years in a row in under 18 snooker and under 21s.
Nice.
He was a world champion. He's the best non-British player of all time. He's a blonde kid named Neil Robertson. I grew up with him.
Okay.
And he was on my podcast in our snooker room in Melbourne. And he said something identical to what you did. He said to me, I never worry about the results. I only worry about the things I can control, which is my preparation. I just want to do my practice. I want to work as hard as I can, and I'll show up and I'll do my best. The results will work themselves out.
Yeah, I will say, when I say I didn't quite say that, because what I mean is I do worry about the results. But the point I was making is that I haven't fought anybody who I've lost to who I've thought I need to get back at them on another occasion. What I mean by that is, if I lost in that competition, I lost.
You move on.
I move on. I'm not. That's what I mean by I don't care about that result. If you've beaten me, you've beaten me. I don't. If I see you again,
I'm coming for you.
I have to beat you because what I want is to win the competition.
It's not a personal thing.
It's
about
not
the
a
end
personal
result.
thing. And no, there's not one single competitor that I've known that I think I need to go and fight him and beat him. I don't care, right? If we meet in a competition, we'll go, right? But otherwise, I'm not out to call anybody out or does this make sense?
Whatever it falls, it falls.
Yeah, there's no, it's different, but in this context, it's.
So I want to ask you, because you many disciplines, why was Brazilian Jiu Jitsu your favorite, you think?
Again, it isn't, I love it because I love martial art, but it isn't my favorite. Oddly enough, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is the one that most people who know me for. But that's mainly because Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is very popular. And that's the one in which I compete a lot. And so therefore, I'm known in it.
Do you train all the other disciplines or you just do Jiu Jitsu?
I still train Filipino martial arts, which includes striking, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Filipino martial arts, the weaponry stuff. So I still do those things because I love them and I think they're important because I'm heavily influenced by Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. And Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, there is the style, but there is the way of thinking. And the way of thinking is you have to be proficient in all areas of combat.
He said some awesome statements and profound things.
Yeah.
A lot of people love Bruce Lee for not just his fighting ability, but his mindset, how he thought, the things he said, his understanding.
Well, he did actually revolutionize martial arts. I mean, the first mixed martial arts that people saw publicly and openly was in Enter the Dragon. The opening scene where he's fighting Sammo Hung, I think it is. Or is it Jackie Chan? Anyway, I should know because I'm a Bruce Lee fan. And he's got those shorts and he's got those black gloves and they're doing some stuff fighting out in the arena surrounded by everybody. And he did some trapping, punching, kicking, took him down, and then he did an armbar. That was the first time you saw somebody doing MMA like on a public
viewpoint, public forum.
Yeah, public forum. I mean, other people were doing some stuff, right? But in the movies,
he brought it to the world.
He brought it to the world, right? So he's credited for being sort of the first mixed martial artist. Is why Bruce Lee, as the history tells us, had such a lot of problems with the Chinese, right, from where he was, is because when he went to America,
teaching them there.
He was teaching them, but also he was fighting others. And that's when he realized that Wing Chun doesn't solve all the problems. So he started to learn from some of the people that he'd fought, right?
It was adapting and evolving.
Adapting and evolving, right? So his experience is what made him become the person he was. Whereas the karate guy just wanted to fight with karate, the judo was just in the judo, the kickboxing was just in the... Nobody was really blending those styles. It was my style is better than your style.
Yeah.
Whereas the reality is...
You want to be a better martial artist, a better fighter.
Yeah, the reality is it's about the individual, but what the individual chooses to do. There are some systems which are very good, but as Guru Dan Inosanto said, Bruce Lee was the kind of individual that whatever he did, he would have been good at.
A lot of people say that. When you hear his mindset, it's a very hard point to argue against,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Mm.
Now, I know you talk a lot about goal setting and framework. Can you tell us a bit about that and why it's so important?
Yeah. I mean, look, I certainly am not an expert, but I know I have some good ideas about what works. And I think that there is a ton of material out there and information that will tell you and help you with goal setting. What I would say is this: the problem with goal setting is you need to know your goals. That's the problem with goal setting. Because if you take a teenager, an average teenager, and say, "Hey, what do you want to be when you're older?" They might say, "I don't know." So it's hard to plan for "I don't know" and set your goals because you don't know. And then you'll get someone who's 12 or 9, "I want to be a professional basketball player." One of the best examples I've ever seen about knowing your goal from an early stage is the story of David Beckham. If you go and you watch the documentary and you see that, even I listen, I'm British, I was born here, I've known about David Beckham. It was only when I watched the documentary did I realize how far and how deep and how early those goals began, right? But my point basically is you can't set any goals and action them if you don't know what they are, first of all.
The destination.
Exactly. You have to know what you want to
I want to be a black belt. I want to be a world champion. I want to be this. I want to have this career. Yep.
Correct. So it starts with that. And then once you have that, you can now set that as the goal and then begin to research your plans as to how you're going to get there. So, and everything does take the work because the mind controls everything, right? Let's say I want to be a really good pianist. Well, whatever happens, I can write it down. I can set all the goals. But if I don't go and take some piano lessons, it's never going to happen because
your actions aren't aligned with that. But it does take time. You hear a lot of great stories, and I'm very proud of a lot of my friends. I mentioned Neil, who's my friend who's over here now. I mentioned he failed 3 times off the professional circuit, and he never had much money. So he came to the UK with like £200, and he borrowed a vest to compete.
Right.
And when he came back, he had to sign up to the dole. The dole is on unemployment benefits.
That's what it was here. It's called,
he was in line, and they said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm a professional snooker player." He never made any money at that point.
Yeah.
And I knew him growing up.
Yeah.
I never met someone with so much self-belief.
Yeah.
And he became the best non-British player, not best Australian of all time. He's that successful. He recently won a tournament, £500,000, beating Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, Ronnie
beat him 10-9. Like this, a lot of English people don't understand. They don't play snooker. He's not the best snooker player. He could be one of the best sportsmen of all time. He's such an incredible athlete.
Right.
So he always had that obscene. We would go into junior tournaments, and I said, "Neil, what's your goal this year?" He hasn't won an Australian event yet. He goes, "I want to win everything I play in."
Yeah.
And he genuinely had that belief.
Yeah.
And he went on to, well, he's still, what is he now? Neil's 45, and he's number 3 in the world.
Wow. That's seriously impressive.
And he won this year. He got ignited. He's won an Order of Australian medal for his services to snooker. It's the highest honour a civilian can get. He got honoured that. So it's very impressive. And I've known this kid since he was 16. Never met someone with that much belief. But it's what he wanted to do.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's so that's all that I do. And I've been pretty, if I'm honest, I feel like I've been pretty successful at the things that I've identified as goals and set my mind to them.
You mean from a legal point of view and then transitioning to MMA?
Just generally. It's when I look back at the things that I've done and some of the things that I have, these may be physical possession. When I actually look back and I realize that I always said I wanted that thing. Oh yeah, and I've got it now. It's like, oh, but you still need something to point at. I mean, it's one thing to say, here's an example. One of the things that I've learned, I think, if you really want to draw the benefit or the power of I'm going to say the universe in setting your goals, the more specific you are, the better results you'll get.
There's no shadow of a doubt.
You know, I want to be rich. What does that mean? I want to have a really expensive car. What does that mean?
What color is it? What make is it?
What does
year?
it mean?
What? Yeah. One of my mentors used to tell me that if you want a goal, I want you to feel it. I want you to understand it. I want you to attract it. I want you to think about it, because you can work towards that. He was very, very specific when you'd use a car as an example. He goes, what year, what rims? He would make you feel like it's in front of you.
Absolutely.
Because then you'll get it again.
Absolutely. And that's, as I said, I'm not teaching anybody. I'm not, but I've seen, and I understand. I mean, I've read many things, but I understand that some things that work. But the other thing as well is that normally, if you're lucky, making your own luck, you find that your own success can breed more success, because you now are able to be confident in yourself because you did this thing. Oh, I can do this. So now you can do that thing. So like when we talked about this competition, I told you that my game plan was to do 2 competitions before the World Masters. But even though the plan was to be ready for the World Masters, I had no intention of losing those 2 competitions. It wasn't a question of, I'm just going to go see what happens and get ready for the world. I was going to win those 2 competitions and then go and win the world.
It's not a tune-up and I'm showing up. I want to win as well.
No, I did not go to lose. But I still needed to fight those to be ready for the world, if that makes sense. But I didn't. My game plan was I'm going to win those 2 and then go and win that one. So I was still, kind of specific about that. And, like I said, it may not have happened. But.
You mentioned world title that you've won, which is a massive accolade. And I had to ask the question because it's been on my mind. Are you going to go and compete again? Are you trying to become a multiple world champion? Or are you happy you've hit this massive goal? I'm good.
Yeah, I actually have a competition at the end of this month. So at the end of this month, I fly to Rome for the no-gi European Championship.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So I'm going to fight that. I won that title last year for the first time, the no-gi European Championship. But let me tell you this. Part of my goal this year, or that I set in October, was to do 5 competitions this year. Not any 5 specific ones. And the goal was to become a world champion in the gi and a world champion no gi. So in December this year, we have the no gi world championships.
Whereabouts is that? Is that all in the US?
Back in Las Vegas.
Everything's in the US?
The major ones, the big ones, back in Las Vegas. So I'm going to fight that in December. So I'm going to do the European Championship to get ready for the no-gi World Championship.
So you are going back?
Yes. I'll be fighting in just end of October and then again in December. That's
incredible.
But these were all part of the plan that I wrote down in October last year.
Preliminary goals to get to the main one.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Well, I'll definitely be contacting you to see how you go.
Yeah, I know. Better do it now, right?
And I can't wait to hear that you're a multiple world champion. It's been an absolute pleasure. I do want to ask you a couple more questions. We'll go to the quickfire questions.
Yeah, correct.
What are some of the lessons in martial arts, if you're speaking to, I know you train a lot of young kids as well, which
we do,
I've always said any martial art's great. And it's not about violence or fighting. It's about discipline. It's it's a very, very good thing to learn, to be fit, but the discipline that martial arts teaches you. What are you saying to any of our listeners that are thinking of getting into martial arts or some of the benefits, whatever style that may be?
Oh, do it. It will take you out of your comfort zone. It will teach you things about yourself that you never knew. It will help so much because it will keep you moving physically, right? From a physical perspective, going to the gym and training is great, better than doing nothing. But running on a treadmill, just lifting weight, it's a little bit boring. Martial arts will at least help you use those things in a focused way. And it will therefore make it more interesting, and therefore you're more likely to stay in it and therefore stay fit for a longer period of time, right? That's the physical side. The mental side, it will still teach you many things because there'll be days when you want to get up, days you don't want to train, days when I tell you this actually, martial arts training is very much like trading, right? Because if you look at a trading graph and take any particular time, it might look like it's going down if you just take this bit. Or it might look like it's just equal, or might look like it's going up. You step back and look at the whole graph over a period.
So you take a long view.
And you take a long view, and are you going in the right direction? So you will always have ups and downs in it. And let me just say, one of the friends, Andy, who we talked about, is obviously a trader, and we've talked about this many times about how the martial arts can actually help him in the trading, and he uses those things well.
He told me it's helped his mindset as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm in real estate, David, and I say the same example. They go, "Do you think property will grow?" I said, "Always, but it's never going to grow like this."
No,
I use the same example. If you take a long view, you'll make money. But if you take a short view, it's speculation. I don't know if you're going to make money. No one does.
Yeah.
And it's the exact analogy. If you take a long view at, I guess, anything, but when it's health, it has so many other benefits to it when you have martial arts. It touches every area of your life. Touches your business, touches your family life, touches everything.
Absolutely.
So basically, if you're thinking of doing any martial arts, just get started.
Just get started.
It's going to benefit you in every area.
Hopefully you'll find a good place, because finding a good place is important. But go, try it out.
And if you're in London or anywhere near.
Well, I'm based in North Finchley. Thank you. I'm based in North Finchley, North London. And, anyone's welcome to look me up. Or I do a lot of traveling as well. I travel to other places and teach people, and people come to me. And it's been interesting because in the martial arts world, I teach, private individuals. I've been involved in teaching stunt people, some celebrities, some people who can't be named, just
getting ready for movies and stuff.
Yeah. And people who need it for part of their job as well. So that's all.
That would be interesting and fun.
Yeah, it is. It's very different.
So are you ready for your quick fire questions?
Go ahead. Let me see.
Excellent. All right. Now,
I'll try and give quick answers. I'm a waffler.
You can take your time. What's tougher, winning a legal case or winning on the mats?
Ooh, good question. On the mats, I'd say.
I got really to ask that. What's one book or resource that's really inspired you the most? Is there one thing that stands out?
Yeah, there's a book by, is it Patrick Murphy? I should really know. Or John Murphy. There's a book by John Murphy, which is The Power of the Subconscious Mind. That's a really good book.
Now, if you could train with anyone in history, past or present, I think I know the answer. Who would it be?
Yeah, I definitely would have loved to train with Bruce Lee, for sure, just to experience it.
Of course. Favorite way to unwind after training?
Oh, believe it or not, just lie down on my couch.
Just relax.
Just relax.
Let your body relax.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give someone considering a major career change? You're talking about a very successful lawyer that's been going for 25 years to follow a passion.
Sometimes you can jump or be pushed and still end up in the same place, right? If you jump, you made the choice. If you're pushed, you didn't make that choice, right? But I think usually what I would say is identify what your fear is. That's what I would say, because people usually don't do something because they're scared.
So take action? Is that what you...
No, I'm saying identify your fear, because it's usually, what's my fear? Well, I won't have enough money. Well, okay, let's see what you can do. Or I'm going to lose my prestige. They don't want to leave where they are or go, because they're usually scared about something. There's usually some kind of fear that holds people back.
Comfort zone?
Yeah, all of it. But my advice is be honest with yourself and identify your fear.
So you got to look in the mirror and be honest.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you know what you're looking at.
Identify your fear, because your fear might be prestige. Oh, I don't have this title anymore, or I don't have this amount of money, or people will look at me differently.
So when you identify your fear, then what?
Then at least you can know how to start to deal with it.
goes back to what we said before, know what it is and know what the outcome is.
Yeah.
Then you can go towards it. What's your fear? How can I break it? Who do I go speak to? Who can coach me? Who can mentor me?
Correct. You can't do any of that if you don't even know what you're scared about.
Of course. So it all comes down to having that knowledge. But sometimes not knowing, but having the right people around you can help you identify that. Because people that are younger that don't know, and Anthony Robbins talks a lot about this. If you don't know what you want to do, start by writing what career you don't want. And then your answer will come clearer.
Yeah.
So you might write, I don't want a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And slowly by writing this will start to become clearer. It's something easy to do.
Yeah.
Now, question I ask everyone at the end, on a scale of 1 to 10, David, how much have you enjoyed being on our podcast?
Oh, this is the 10. No, it is. It's good. It has been. It's a 10 because the conversation has been really good. You've challenged me to think about, things. It's a nicer environment. It's a pleasure meeting you. No, this has been a very positive experience. And I think that, and I hope that anybody listening gets something out of it. But no, I've thoroughly enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. I know I've definitely got something out of it. It's always a pleasure having a world champion on. It's not every day you get to meet someone that's done so much. Thank you for being a great mentor to my friends. They speak very highly of you. They said you're a very well-disciplined man, and everything they said, I've asked them all a few questions about you before I met you. I can see why they said the words they did. So thank you. And remember to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes of Relentless. Thank you.